Hello. So I just got back from the Monday Mystery movie at Regal on June 2nd, 2025, and saw The Life of Chuck. And honestly, very, very good. It was told in three parts backwards. So I did like that idea. Tell a story in that format. It gives it a different appeal as a narrator, uh, different kind of structure. Especially having a narrator, a lot of movies don't have that, which I think is a very great guider because you don't need too much of it, which it didn't have, but it had just enough where you may give it enough appeal. Just pull in, create, do so, boom. And I think that's something that we have with an American audience where it can work. I watch movies from all over and I realize that the things that can work here to create something that's indicative and useful is actually very much pushes the film forward. Like we have so much that is resourceful and so much of a technique that can help, like telling films in this structure helps with that. Like to me, I grew up in the 90s watching films, 90s, early 2000s, so on and so forth, in cinemas, theaters, all those places, whatever you want to call them. And I realized that a lot of the films were just like not as memorable, you know? Now I'm recognizing that there is something about certain films that are more memorable because of how the meaning resides. So pretty much this film is kind of apocalyptic, but not really. It's more about how society in a lot of ways is pulling apart from each other. It's very individualistic, and there was one character that was crying at one point, and that conversation really got to me. So I'm really going to stick on that one because that conversation really hit me. It was in the first or the third part of the story, which was told first. But I remember the conversation because it really hit me. How he was saying people really feel about grief and they know it's happening. We're at the part of that now where we know it's happening and we can't do anything about it. And we're at the last part of that grief, where we know the steps of it, and now we're automatically there. It's been 14 months or whatever in the storyline. Sorry. Disappeared for a second there. I disappeared in the storyline for a second too. Um, but it was just him talking about that to the main um, third act character. And it was just that emotion made me cry too because I really felt like how we feel in really real life. I've been writing in my own journal right now about how pretty much we as people don't organize just as teams. We don't even know what the word team means. Like in general, whether it's in work, in careers, or just in life. Like, fuck that. And right after that part, right after that emotion, there's all these people who no longer have their vehicles that just have to walk by themselves on their own because all their vehicles were sunken into the sinkholes all across the states. There's disasters, so on and so forth, and nobody wants to work together. You know, all they cared about at the beginning of the story is that the internet is down. The internet is down. Like, there's no team. There's no teaming up. Like all the things in the 90s I remember was like everybody was stroking their ego about like, yeah, let's do things together. What I recognize now is it did shit for us. It didn't do nothing because it's not the truth. We have to actually work together because there's not going to be a one-upsmanship about it. We got to actually work together, you bunch of idiots, because no one's going to actually do something for one person to get a profit only. And I think that's why a lot of people are individualistic. It's not because they actually don't give a damn, it's because they know the other person doesn't give a damn. And I think this movie really told me that. And that's what really got me. Yeah. That's what really got me. Whew. Yeah. It got really emotional because I really saw like how the idea dynamic of being a team and growing up as like a team is like not as important as just being as much as you can to just gain your own following, do your own thing. And there wasn't anything spectacularly new Sid, but it made me reorganize my thoughts about everything I grew up with and even the present. And just made me recognize like the day to day life, everything that's going on, it's aimless. It's actually an existence that's very small and insignificant. And I remember one of the other characters in the same third act was like he's like one of the Undertakers or owners of the Undertaker kind of staff was saying that you know man can be blamed for only so much of what's happening in the world, but at the same time, um, it's the idea of like us not working together. Like we're basically just blaming each other so we don't have to actually do anything important with each other and for each other in a lot of ways. The empathy disappears because we don't want to be here. Like that crying scene and that scene really were like bouncing against each other to me. Yeah, it got me. So the life of Chuck, whew, it got me. And the rest of it too as well. It's pretty much telling that don't let the grips of what the horrible parts of life tell you, let you not live your life. But literally, that's what we do. Like, it's controlled by it at this point. Even the beginning of the movie basically has all the parents of all the students say the internet's down, but the teacher at the beginning of the story is saying we need to talk about your students' attendance, and they don't give a damn about that conversation. Like, to me, pay attention here. We have a conversation to have. So pay the fuck attention. Have this conversation with me. End of interview.